Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear listening into another Gamer Thoughts discussion. And we're going to be talking about CD Projekt Red and their fantasy world that Cyberpunk 2077 didn't launch in a broken state. Because it did. Now, to be fair, I have the thought that there is a class action lawsuit coming up. I'm pretty sure there is one. And they're trying to get their ducks in a row before that thing happens, because they're going to have to make some ridiculous statements and deny some things that actually happened if they want to come out of this on, the side of not making any sort of payment. Because there's no way in the world that anyone actually believes that they think that game launched in playable condition on every platform it launched on, because it didn't. And it was taken down off of the PlayStation Store because of how bad it was. I think it was also taken off of Xbox Live as well. So yeah, there's no denying that from the public perspective. As you can go up on YouTube and other video platforms right now and find the videos of the broken Cyberpunk 2077 launch. You can find them right now. So they have to work within the legal system. I'm pretty sure that's why this weird statement's coming out of, who's it, the CEO of CD Projekt Red? It was like, the game didn't launch in such bad condition. It's just people, it's like they're fake videos and stuff. Like, dude, are you Donald Trump now? No, those were not fake news. Those were real videos. But the thing that they have that could potentially work on their side for them is that they have content creators that boasted about the game before it launched. So they had that also, which they could potentially use in their defense. But the game still launched in broken condition, and it really was only playable on PC if you had the highest tier of machine. So they definitely had to go back in and fix a lot of stuff in that game. So I'm just like, I understand what you're doing. I understand where you're coming from. And I understand that you guys are preparing for some legal action, because there's no way in the world you just come out of nowhere and say this stupid bullshit. There's no way in the world you just come out of nowhere and say this dumb shit here and expect everybody like, oh yeah, that's what happened. It didn't launch in poor condition. It was just a bunch of people with fake videos that they posted online, bullshitting and bitching about it. No, the videos are very much real, just like the videos of Sonic Colors Ultimate, which I found out afterwards on a Nintendo Switch was having multiple actual glitches. And yeah, I did see some of the videos from people playing on the emulator on PC, which still didn't make any damn sense to me. If you're going to play Sonic Colors on PC, why don't you play the PC version of the fucking game? But that's a whole different separate conversation. But they were playing it in the Yuzu emulator, and it was having those glitches, but people on actual Switches were having the same issue. So you can't say stuff like that didn't actually happen. It happened. Like, I know you guys are trying to protect yourselves, protect your image, protect your money, because you kind of have to. But all of us that were around for it, which is the majority of the planet, we know. We know your game launched busted, and that you took your time and worked on it and fixed a lot of errors with it. But to say the launch wasn't that bad is a lie. And if I remember correctly, this game is the reason that Steam and multiple other platforms instituted a refund policy, because they didn't have them before. Now, there's no way you can tell me your game didn't launch in a broken state if your game is the reason that online gaming platforms or storefronts instituted a refund policy that they didn't originally have because of the broken state your game released in. That's something that you have to let sink in. That game was the reason for Steam's refund policy. So that people can return games and get their money back if they play the game and it is shit when they try to play it. Which also means it did have multiple issues on PC, probably because people were trying to play with the minimum system requirements and you needed something closer to the recommended or to be above the recommended to really play it on PC. So, I mean, let's call it what it is. You're trying to make yourselves look good because there's most likely a class action lawsuit if somebody knows, because I don't know if one has been announced yet. But I get the feeling they expect one is coming. And they are preparing for it. They are expecting one is going to drop in their laps. And they want to have evidence ready to go for said hearing. Now, if they can get enough people online to believe them and to regurgitate what they say, they could have a case to protect themselves. Because we know how people like to follow on the internet and go ahead and say, oh yeah, no, your launch wasn't so bad. It wasn't so bad. I enjoyed the game. I got to play it and play through it. So your launch wasn't bad. You were in a finite number of people that didn't have trouble with this game when it came out. And if you are among that extremely small number of people, congratulations, but you shouldn't be commenting on the overall whole situation for everyone else. So that is a thing to worry about when it comes down to it, because if they were to get sued that way, they could be paying out a lot of money, and that's what they're trying to avoid. Now, I was going to end it here, but there was also a thing, I think it was CBS News put out a thing to say that younger generations are asking for Quest 64. I'm kind of wondering who among the younger generation is asking for this game, because it is relatively unknown. I would be asking for a new version of it because I have played it. I've played it nearly to completing the end of the game until somebody played on my save and corrupted my data, but that was a whole different thing. But who among the younger generation of people are asking for this game? I mean, I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of curious. How did they poll this? Did they just randomly ask people about this and just show them like a short video clip of it and say, okay, yeah, this is how the game operated, without explaining, the faults and issues with the game? And then just got a yes or no on the spot? Because I'm kind of curious as to how this came about. Because there is no way just a bunch of random younger gamers are just like, oh yeah, I want Quest 64. I want Quest 64 remade. Again, me personally, like, you can think what you want of it. I would like it to be remade because the battle system in that game has potential to actually be something. It just never got another chance. So I would love that game to be remade and actually worked on, and have that battle system implemented in a way that, well, I mean, the battle system wasn't really the problem. It was everything else about the game. It definitely had some hiccups. You would have input drops sometimes. And on top of that, the world itself wasn't the best to navigate because a lot of the scenery had a samey feel to it. But still, if you got far enough into the game and you played it And it actually did pick up. And the way the experience point system worked also was a little bit weird, because I don't think you actually, if I remember correctly, you didn't actually gain experience points. You actually had to find your experience to upgrade your abilities. And I think that was also another thing that a lot of people didn't understand back then. That's why that game got panned the way it did, because people didn't take time to get to understand the system of the game. They just tried to, brute force it, and it didn't work. So there's a lot of potential for Quest, but I'm again very curious and very confused and befuddled here. Like, how did y'all get this information? This is just sounding just as suspicious to me as that Sony chart that they put out, because I'm like, part of me don't think this is what you guys are saying it is. Now, maybe it's like I said, they just put people in a room or something and had an age group that they decided, or they had multiple age groups, and people who are older that may have already played or heard about Quest 64 were like, nah, I don't want that. And then people who are younger who've never played it have no idea what it is, and they got to see, like, oh, that looks pretty interesting, I'd like to play that. That's probably how it happened. That's the thing. I'm like, because there ain't no way in the world you just got this randomly. This did not just randomly happen. You guys literally specifically went for this specific thing. And maybe it's because one of the staff of the news organization played that game and they're fond of it. And they're like, I would like to see this happen again. So let me run a poll and see if I can get in contact and communicate with gamers and see what we can do there. Because gaming is picking up as a medium, even though it's still rather small in comparison to, the global population, but it's still picking up as a medium. I'm like, bruh, where did this come from? That's my whole thing, my whole contention to this, because I don't believe that there's just a bunch of young gamers out there that are just like, oh yeah, Quest 64 is the shit, man, let me go ahead and play that. And I say that as a person who likes the game. I know about its qualities and faults. I say that as somebody who likes the game. Like, but fuck, if y'all was gonna do Quest 64, you know what game you could have done that was a really good game, that was on the same platform? Ogre Battle 64. I mean, if y'all gonna go with something as obscure as fucking Quest, why the hell didn't y'all go to Ogre Battle? That's another one that baffles my mind. It's like, they're both pretty obscure. Ogre Battle is a better game by far. they are definitely both obscure titles. So why the fuck didn't y'all pick a good obscure title versus a bad one? Is another question. I'm just like, bruh, that doesn't make any damn sense to me. Oh man, this is my genuine confusion with this issue. Cause, I mean, I think the bad thing is, the only reason I even knew about it is because I saw a post with Juice Man Vaughn laughing at this shit, and I'm like, damn, who did this poll? Who polled for this? Like, who thought this was the hill to die on? Because I'm like, nah, this ain't it. I mean, I agree, yeah, let's get it remade and make a better quality game and actually put some quality of life fixes into it that would make it playable for a larger number of people without screwing over the battle system. If we could do all that, cool. And honestly, I don't think the story in that game was all that good either. It was drab as hell. But I'm just like, I don't know. It don't seem like it was a well thought out thing here. I'm both praising and bashing this game simultaneously. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I really truly do not know what to make of that, and I am confused as everybody else. But yeah, I think that will be it for now. Another thing, and I've said it several times, and I put up a couple polls. There's a newer Twitter poll. If anybody's listening and you go over to my Twitter, anyone wants me to talk about some of the stuff coming out from the FTC versus Microsoft hearing, I'm not doing the whole thing. I am not doing the whole thing. I will talk about specific comments that come out if anybody wants me to, because I am kind of interested, but I am not doing the whole thing. Because I think everybody's perspective going into it is, yo, this is a bunch of ridiculous bullshit that Microsoft is saying. And yeah, I agree, but there may be some nuance to that. And I'm not saying it to try to defend Microsoft before anybody runs that gambit. I'm just saying, like, there may be a perspective to this that we're not catching because we're outside of the legal proceedings, and the things that go on in legal proceedings don't often make sense to the people outside of it. And having watched and dealt with several different, well, not dealt with, but watched and listened to several different trials, I got to understand that when there are things that just don't make any damn sense that have to be said in order to either defend yourself in a case or to attack the other party in the case. It may not make sense to the general public or in the general scope, but in the weird ass legal world, it does make sense. So again, just putting that out there. I'm not saying I'm some sort of fucking legal expert. Let me make sure I put that in there too. I am not claiming to be Andre, the legal idea guy. That's not what. Oh, that sounds horrible. I'm not claiming to be that dude. I'm just saying I may be able to offer a different perspective just because of how I pay attention to things. So that's it. I'm not going to claim that I am right or that I know what I'm talking about. I'm just claiming I could give an interesting perspective if anybody wants to hear that. Sorry to inundate everybody with that at the last minute. But other than that, thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. Peace out, everybody.